Hey everyone, welcome back to Mind and Movement, getting smart about how you move. I'm Hazel. Thanks so much for joining me for Coffee and Move 12. Today we are going to be doing some movements that you can relax to. So we're going to do a whole lot of releases. Many of us hold a lot of chronic tension in our bodies that we're simply not aware of, and we're going to try and let some of that chronic tension go. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a psoas release. So without too much nerdy anatomy, the psoas is a muscle that attaches from the lesser trochanter in the femur and then up into the spine. So it doesn't attach to the pelvis at all. In a lot of us, especially if we're rib thrusters, we're using it a lot, and it gets really short and tight because we spend so much time in hip flexion, then aka sitting down. Then what a lot of us do is try and stretch it, but many of us can't turn the muscle off, so we're stretching a muscle that's on, which is just gross. You don't want to be doing that. Imagine stretching your quad when your quad is like on. So we're going to do the psoas release. You're going to need some cushions to bolster yourself up. I'm going to bolster myself quite high because it's better to start higher and then take layers away. But you want to sit in front of some bolsters. I am going to make sure that these, when I lie down, are going to support me from the bottom of my shoulder blade up. So from the bottom of my shoulder blade up, I'm going to sit here with my hands on the ground, and my hamstrings, I'm going to feel how connected they are to the ground. As I lower myself back, I'm going to feel when my hamstrings start to lift up a little bit, and it'll just be a slight feeling. Why is it lifting up? It's because as you're coming back, your psoas is getting to its end length and starting to lift the femur up. So I'm going to bolster myself about here, and this is it. This is the psoas release. So you'll notice that my stuff's slipping away. I just wanted to show you from the side, but then I'm going to put it up against the wall so it doesn't slip. But you'll notice there's a space here. Why is there a space here? Really? What's stopping my ribcage from going down and touching the ground? It's my short psoas, or my on psoas. So I'm going to change this just so I've got the bolsters. I recommend you do it up like this. So you're bolstering from the bottom of your scapula up, and I'm bolstering my head higher than my shoulders and whatnot because we don't want to be in, if I take this away, all of a sudden I'm in this position which we really don't want to be in. We don't want to be in that forward head posture where we have, hyperextension through the back of the neck there. And that means this basically. That's hyperextension, and many of us are in that position all the time, so we've got to bolster our head up. So it's not in hyperextension, we have length down the back of our neck. This is a psoas release. This is why lots of people find this exercise hard. It's because you don't have to do anything. And lots of people always want to be doing something. So this is just a great opportunity to put your hands on your belly or on your chest, be comfortable and just enjoy lying down. I used to recommend that people, maybe set themselves up like this and then watch telly or read a book, and that is absolutely fine, but I find that you'll get a much bigger release of your psoas when you just think about releasing the psoas. So think about the muscles up here in the spine. Google the psoas. P-S-O-A-S. Psoa is actually how you should be saying it. Anyway, so here we have these two muscles, and what I'm tracking now is this space under here is getting smaller. So when you first set yourself up, put your hands under your back here and feel for how big the space is. And as you lie there, as this muscle starts to release, so let go, your rib cage and your spine, basically, that it's attaching to, will lower to the ground. So this is a psoas release, and you can set yourself up and relax in this position for many minutes, and it's a very enjoyable, lovely exercise to do. Some of you might find this uncomfortable if you have a very, very tight iliacus which is a muscle that attaches from the same place in the least trochanter of the femur, but it attaches up into the pelvis. So if your pelvis is really getting pulled forward and you find this position uncomfortable, let me show you the Iliacus release. So again, I'm going to use this to bolster up my pelvis. So basically this time, we're doing the bolstering the other way around. So instead of bolstering up my rib cage, I'm bolstering up my pelvis. And I'm getting this right at that, like, as far that way as I can without it slipping off. So I'm basically just wanting this pelvis to start to tilt backwards like I'm showing you there, but I'm forcing that when I do that to show you. I want that to happen by these muscles, the iliacus, just releasing. And again, why is this just not instantly coming down? It's because there's tension in my iliacus. So you'll feel like you're doing nothing when you're doing these exercises, and you'll go, am I doing this right? I don't feel anything. Just relax and enjoy being in a chilled out position, and you're doing it right if you're relaxing. If you're stressing out about doing it right or wrong, you're not doing it right. So just chill and relax and enjoy a moment of taking some nice deep breaths. So you'll notice here that my rib cage is on the ground here. There's no thrusting happening. I've got my rib cage down, and this is the iliacus release. So if you've got one of these half rollers, you can flip it up the other way, and then you can gently tilt it back this way, and that will help you to get in that position of allowing the iliacus to release and allowing this to come back without forcing it. We're not doing anything. Hopefully we're all getting a little bit better at not doing anything for moments in this current retreat state that the world is in. Anyway, so this is the iliacus release. I love this one. And like I said, these are all movements to relax to. So the third one we're going to do is called, it's an abdominal release, and many of us have been told the story that we need to have our abs on all the time, that tensing our abs supports our back, which is not false. It's just your muscles should fire without you thinking about it. If you're having to think about firing your abs, then there's some motor control stuff that we need to work on. So many of us hold our stomachs in, and this creates a pressure problem in our abdomen. Like, this is our abdominal cavity here, and when we suck our guts in to support our back or to make it look like we've got a smaller stomach or whatever, all of this stuff that's in our abdominal cavity, aka all our internal organs, not our lungs and our heart, they're up here in our thoracic cavity, but everything else in our abdominal cavity here is under pressure if we're sucking in our gut, which means it doesn't have as much space to operate. So we're going to release the abdomen. And if you have a hernia, if you have a linea alba separation, which is called a diastasis recti, that happens to many females in pregnancy. It is not due to pregnancy. Many people have the pressure problem before they get pregnant, and then they put a baby in there, which of course makes the pressure problem even worse. But the linea alba will split, and you'll get the separation of the rectus abdominis through here, created by too much pressure in the abdominal cavity. So we need to reduce the pressure. One of the big things you can do to reduce the pressure in your abdominal cavity is to get your weight in your heels. We're going to talk about that next week. Well, not next week, tomorrow actually. But for now, let's do this abdominal release. So you're going to come into this 4-point kneeling position, and all you're going to do is let your abs go. So you're not going to suck your abs in, you're just going to let them go and release down towards the ground. Now, many of you will find this actually quite challenging. I used to find this really challenging when I first started doing this exercise. You want to make sure that you're not tucked. You want to make sure that you're kind of in an up position, so you're not just down here hanging on your ligaments. But you just want to let your ab muscles go. Can you let them go? Or are they super sucked in and super tight? And so my teacher, Katie Bowman, says that if you can get your stomach to touch the ground, you're doing a great abdominal release. Obviously she's just having a wee joke there, but seriously, the further out you can let your gut go, like if I suck my gut in, it's all the way up here, if I let it go, it feels much better. So this is the abdominal release. Play around with that one. The last thing we're going to do is not actually a release, but it's just checking in with our breathing and breathing into our rib cage. We have all of these spaces that we can breathe into. We can breathe into our abdomen, we can breathe into the side of our rib, we can breathe in here, we can breathe into our back, we can breathe anywhere in the thoracic kind of and abdominal cavity. We've been taught, many of us are taught to belly breathe, to breathe into our abdomen. That's the best way to breathe, but the best way to breathe is to be able to use all of your capacity. So you're going to wrap, I've got a TheraBand here, it's a stretchy band. If you don't need that, you can just put your hands on the side here. But what we're going to see is when you breathe in, that your rib cage is moving apart, away. So you can see how my hands move away from each other. And this is going to move your intercostals. This is going to get some more movement happening in the back of your thoracic spine, and just get a whole lot more movement in parts of your body that don't move a lot. So the reason you can use something like this is it's nice to have a bit of a, so if I hold it kind of there, you can see when I breathe in, the cord stretches, and then I relax. And when I'm breathing in, I'm also breathing in down here. I'm just trying to breathe in as fully as I can. If any of you singers out there know you breathe in here, if we do diaphragmatic kind of breathing, diaphragmatic stretching, you breathe in as much as you can into the abdomen, then you breathe in as much as you can into the full rib cage, then you breathe out of the rib cage, and then you breathe out of the abdomen. So have fun. Normal relaxed breathing though is just you breathing without thinking about it too much, without taking the breaths really shallowly up here. If you do this is a really good test from a guy called Nick Potter, who wrote a really good book called The Meaning of Pain. If you close your mouth and then take a sudden sniff in through your in through your nose, what happens? Hopefully you breathe in down here, but what a lot of you would have just done then is this. Breathing up through here. So that's a good test to see if you are thoracic breathing. Most neck and shoulder pain has some of it is due to poor breathing patterns. So do some breathing. It's fun. Do some breathing in the psoas release, in the iliacus release, in the abdominal release, and just play around with all of that. While you are doing all of these exercises, may I just say that it's absolutely imperative that you smile. Okay? Awesome. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. Look forward to it already. Peace.